Hi, this is Kiki. I am presenting on the impact of education on young women's decision on marriage, specifically focusing on South Africa. A little bit of background, there are now more women than men in secondary and higher education, while the rate of marriage is decreasing in South Africa. Previous literature suggested several aspects on how education might have an impact on marriage and work status. Many have suggested that highly educated women were more likely to delay marriage, both in more developed and developing countries. So here's my question. How does education affect young women's decision on marriage in South Africa? To note, young women here refers to women of 20 to 30 years old, and later on, I will also introduce early marriage, and that refers to women who are married before or at age 25. My paper used data from the 2016 South Africa DHS. The survey was collected from 8,514 women aged 15 to 49. It was conducted in all 9 provinces by Statistics South Africa in 2016. Another survey used in the study conducted by IPUM CPS was also collected with the same population and duration. I found both of them on DHS website, so I didn't have to combine them myself. My independent variables are age, education levels. This is the most significant one, including both secondary and higher, urban rural areas, racial minority, working status, and wealth index. My dependent variables are marital status, age of first marriage, and early first marriage. And now I will introduce some trends I observed from the data set. Figure 1 compares the percentage of married women among 8,514 samples in the survey. As it shows, among the younger generation between 20 to 30, higher education levels result in a lower percentage of married women. However, figure B suggests that for the older generation, the difference is not significant among all education levels. It could possibly imply for women over 30, education level may not be a major factor influencing the percentage of married population. Figure 2 compares the percentage of married population by education level and working status. As figure 8 suggested, in the currently working sample, as education level increases, women are less likely to be married. Figure B then suggested higher percentage of married population occurs in women with primary education and are not currently working. The percentage of no education, secondary, and higher are similar. Figure 2 shows that the current working population are less likely to be married as they receive more education. However, for the current not working population, education might not have a significant effect on the decision of marriage, since the married population of no education, secondary, and higher are similar. Figure 3 implies women currently aged 20 to 30 living in urban areas are more likely to be married among all education levels. The percentage of married population in rural areas is consistently lower than in urban areas. In figure B, as women's education level increases, the percentage of married women becomes lower. The overall trend indicates that individuals in urban areas are less likely to be married as their education level increases. In rural areas, the pattern is not the same. However, women who receive secondary and higher education still have a lower likelihood to be married at age 20 to 30 compared with women received only primary or no education in rural areas. In figure 4, the age distribution of first marriage was presented across the 15 to 49-year-old range. The data implies a notable trend. The youngest female in the survey were married at 8 years old. The percentage of children married, which is to be married before 18, was much higher than the percentage of women who were married from 30 to 40. The highest percentage of first marriage age was around 21 years old for women in South Africa. After the peak, the number of women having their first marriage gradually decreased with age. This pattern suggests that women are more likely to have their first marriage at younger age rather than later in their life. Figure 5 made a comparison of first marriage between the age 20 to 30 with first marriage age of women over 30. For women first married between 20 to 30, figure A implies as education level increase, the age of first time marriage increased correspondingly. The trend implies women with higher education level in the younger generation are more likely to delay their first marriage. For the older generation, the age of first time marriage was consistently higher across all education levels compared to the younger generation, suggesting that, on average, the older generation were married later compared to the younger generation in South Africa. Figure 6 suggested, regardless of women's working status, women with higher education levels were more likely to delay their first marriage compared to women who received less education. Both figures show a clear association between higher education level and marrying later in life. Women with no education and primary education are likely to be married before turning into 18. In figure 6, working status does not seem to be a decisive factor in influencing the observed pattern. Education level plays a more significant role in age of first marriage for women. Figure 7 showed women in rural areas with no education could be married at a significantly young age, before 15, compared to women in urban areas. There is no significant difference in mean age at first marriage among women across primary, secondary, and higher education level. When comparing those in rural and urban areas. For both rural and urban areas, women with higher level of education were more likely to delay their first time marriage compared to those with less education. And here are 3 regression models I used in the study. The first regression tests the correlation between education level and the decision of marriage with women in their 20s to 30. The sample size of young women was 3,057. The second regression model examines how education levels and other explanatory factors contributed to first marriage at age 20 to 30 within women aged from 15 to 49 in the survey. The sample size was 1,978. The third regression shows how different factors impacted early marriage before at 25. The sample were women aged from 26 to 30 in the study. And again, 20 to 30 are considered as young women in the study. The sample size was 1,386. To note, the sample size are different for the 3 models because the population of young women between 20 and 30, women who are married at age 20 to 30, and young women between 26 to 30 are different. Here are the main findings in the study. In all 3 regressions, higher level of education, both secondary and higher, are consistently negatively correlated with the likelihood of being married at 20 to 30, early marriage, and increasing age at first marriage. As age increases, women are more likely to be married. Living in urban areas and being racial minorities are associated with higher likelihood of being married in 20 to 30 and early marriage. In conclusion, The study investigated how education shapes marriage decision among young women in South Africa. The findings suggested the pivotal role of education as a determinant factor in shaping marital outcomes for women in 20 to 30. This result is aligning with existing literature suggesting that education can influence women's decision to delay or even forego marriage. While the study makes some contribution to the existing literature, there are some limitations. The R-square in the results are relatively small, suggesting that the independent variable only explains a small portion of the sample. It could show better fit if including more independent variables. Adding these variables might help explaining a large proportion of why women choose or choose not to be married at young age or a certain age. In addition, the study assumed that the quality of education were the same for all schools across South Africa, which might not be true. Besides, I could also include a regression analysis about divorce rate with the same independent variables. By doing that, I could examine not only women when women want to be married, but also if they are satisfied with their marriage. This could further explain why fewer women in the younger generation are willing to be married compared to the older generation. Indeed, the study lacks in several aspects. However, it reinforced the importance of education. As South Africa put more effort and helps more women to achieve higher level of education, women have more opportunity in the labor market to compete with their male counterpart, which is a step forward of gender equality in South Africa. Thank you.